There's this defense mechanism I had developed as, I guess, a young teenager. My parents, I guess, felt very controlling for me. One was pretty religious, the other parent was pretty strict based off of culture. So I grew up feeling very controlled. And as a defense mechanism, I ended up developing this like rebellion type defense where anytime I was told not to do something, I would want to do it just because I hated feeling controlled. And that's not always great because I would do things not because I genuinely wanted to, but because I wanted to prove a point that I was free, that I was my own autonomous human being. I hated the concept of feeling controlled. So I just developed that defense mechanism. I would just do things out of spite to just prove to myself that I am in control. And basically, I took that defense mechanism, which could be a little bit of self sabotaging behavior. I took that defense mechanism and kind of used it against my own psyche. So these days, I found myself using that same type of response, but to my own ego. So basically, that those thoughts in your head that are always telling you, oh, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that, it's what makes you overthink things. It's what makes you overthink your next move. It's what makes you feel self-conscious. That is your ego. And basically, your ego's job is just to protect you, but in doing so, it actually ends up hurting you a lot of times. And I find that whenever that voice comes up, well, for me, it's not really a voice, it's like thoughts. When I see those thoughts come up, I end up using that same defense mechanism that I had with my parents, but on my own psyche. So whenever my ego tells me, why are you doing that? Are you sure you want to do that? What are you gonna do next? Like, you don't even know that person. You've never been to that place. You're just gonna walk in. Like, who are you gonna go up to? What are you gonna do? It tries to pre-plan everything for me. And as soon as it starts doubting me, and as soon as it starts making up all of these case scenarios and overthinking for me and telling me not to do something in order to keep me safe, I immediately talk back to it. And I'm like, oh, just because you told me you don't want me to do that, I'm gonna go do it now. As this control for my own freedom, I realized that my ego has controlled me my whole entire life. It controls everyone unconsciously. I mean, it's its job, it's to protect you. But in doing so, it's made me more of a fearful, overthinking, anxious person. And I just started using that same defense mechanism that I had with my parents, but on my own mind. So any single time that part of my mind starts talking and telling me, oh, like, are you sure you want to go in there? You don't know anyone. Like, what are you going to do next? Who are you going to talk to? Are you sure you want to do that? As soon as it starts overthinking, I immediately know that I have to go do what I was planning on doing. Because usually the first thought is going up to that person, going into that new store, going to do that hobby, that activity. That is what I would call your soul, your intuition, your higher self. It's usually coming from love, curiosity, expansiveness. And as soon as I go follow that intuitive nudge, my ego starts talking and it starts saying, are you sure you want to do this? And that is the moment where I use that little rebellion defense mechanism and say, yeah, actually, now because you're scared of doing it and you told me that you don't want me to do it, I'm gonna go do it just to prove to myself that I am free, that I have free will, that I am my own autonomous person, and I don't have to continuously listen to the part of my mind that is so scared and overthinks everything and wants to plan out everything. And it's been so freeing because I give myself the opportunity to finally follow that soul nudge. All the time in your default mode network is the part of your mind that sends you thoughts all the time. You might hear it as like an internal monologue or thoughts in your head, but it's always talking. And I believe that there's three parts of you that live there: your soul, the part of you that's intuitive, the part that's your truest version of you, the part that goes somewhere else when you die. I believe that there's your soul, then there's your ego, the part of you that has an identity, that part of you that protects you, that has defense mechanisms, that has preferences, that picks your favorite color. Like, your ego is what creates your sense of identity. And then there's the observer you, the one that's choosing and witnessing soul and ego and choosing which one you want to follow or how you want to express yourself depending on what your ego is saying and what your soul is saying. I find that my soul speaks, tells me to do something, and then my ego is the one that kind of wants to get in the way and say, wait, are you sure you want to do that? And observer me is the one that's choosing which path I want to follow. So that defense mechanism I developed is honestly to help me follow my soul more, because usually the fear your ego projects comes up at a moment that you are following your internal compass. Your soul told you you should go up to that person. You should go do that thing. You should go to that place. And sometimes it doesn't make sense. Your soul doesn't speak in logic. It's so much more, I don't want to say random, it's just intuitive, and sometimes intuition doesn't always make logical sense. But ego wants to plan. Ego wants to make sure that everything makes sense. Ego wants to make sure that you're safe and what you're doing looks normal. And sometimes soul tells you to do stuff that might not seem socially normal, but it's just exploring, like going up to someone, going to a new place, starting a new hobby, going somewhere that you don't know anyone and anything, and just exploring. That's soul. But ego gets scared of that. And every single time my soul tells me to do something, it's usually coming from this source of love and curiosity. I follow it. And the moment that ego says, no, what are you doing? Like, are we sure we want to do that? It gives me that nudge to follow soul even more, because like I said, I had that defense mechanism already. Anytime someone told me I can't do something, I just needed to do it out of spite, because I hated feeling like somebody else controlled me. And I kind of realized my ego is controlling me, just like my parents did, just like teachers did, just like peers did. People try to control you your whole life, and your ego does the same thing. Again, your ego means well, but I realized every single time my ego would feed me a fear and tell me I'm not allowed to do something, I end up saying, oh, okay, now watch me do it. Because you told me I'm not allowed, I have to show us that we have free will and we are safe following our intuitive nudges. So yeah, I just thought that would be an interesting thing to share, something I recently started doing, and talking back to my fear or to my ego's defense mechanisms and doing the things I want to do anyway have gotten me closer and closer to my intuition, closer and closer to love, and closer to my authentic self.